Welcome to the Know Before You Go Travel Show, where we share all the latest travel tips, tricks, and insights to make your next vacation the best one yet. So sit back, relax, grab a cocktail, and enjoy the show with Penyak Travel's George Penyak and our senior travel consultant, Janet Penyak.
What's up, everybody? We are back.
Hey, everyone.
We're caffeinated, and we are ready for a great show. It's been a little while since we've done a show.
Just a couple weeks.
We had Thanksgiving hit, right?
Yep.
And then when the holidays start hitting, things get a little wacky around here.
Everything gets crazy.
You know, you got to go home and eat with the family or travel. Remember we did the last show was on holiday travel.
Yeah.
So good timing for that. But we're back. It feels great to be back in the podcast studio. And by the way, if you guys are following us and you're enjoying this show, please like and subscribe to our podcast. We would love it. And if you want to write us a review and give us a share, we would be very much grateful for that if you're enjoying this.
Yes, please.
So, but anyways, that being said, we have an excellent show for you today. So, what we're going to talk about today is airport etiquette.
Yeah, airport etiquette and kind of travel tips, that sort of thing for navigating your way through an airport, especially if you don't travel very much. Yeah,
a lot of people that leisure travel that might not business travel, airports and technology is changing so much. It's almost good that we're doing a show like this so we can teach people how to get through the airport quickly.
Yes.
And then, it's kind of funny. So we travel a lot, and I travel a ton for business.
Yes.
So I've got little pet peeves that I'll share to not be that person that's annoying all the business travelers.
Yes, that's right.
But anyways, we hope everyone enjoyed Thanksgiving and is getting ready for Christmas out there, or whatever holiday you're celebrating in December. And if you're flying soon, hopefully this will be a good episode for you. So let's jump right into the show here. So what do you want? So I have a big tip that if you don't travel frequently, you should still do this to get through the airport quickly. And that's download your app from the airline that you're flying.
Yes.
So
all of the major ones have, the app on your phone. You can download it, and it'll bring your boarding pass up right there, and then it'll tell you your gate, if you're connecting, your connecting gate, and where you're landing, what gate you're landing at. So that'll definitely save you some time.
Oh, yeah, and what's really cool, too, is it'll send you an alert, like if your gate changes.
Yeah.
And you don't have to spend time at those kiosks, because I see a lot of people when I go to airports that they're in line by those kiosks, and they're just trying to get print their boarding pass.
Right.
And they might not know that there's an app for, American Airlines, Delta, United, all the major ones.
Yes.
And you can actually get your ticket digitally, and it works through the TSA security lines.
Yep, it's right on your phone, and they'll scan your phone.
Also works at the gate. You can get on the plane with it. So it's really handy. You don't have to carry around tickets in your pocket or put them in your purse. So that's a great tip. And I don't think, when I first started flying a lot for business a few years ago, I saw a lot of people using printed passes, but it's actually becoming pretty common now that people are using, I'm seeing the apps more frequently used, which just speeds things up because you do have people at the kiosk trying to check a bag.
Yes.
Right. And so download the app. So that's tip number one.
Yes. And also,
what else?
if you do check a bag, though, you can check the status of it usually from the app. It'll say, track my bag. So you'll know if your bag's lost before you get to your destination. Or it'll send you an alert and says, bag 2 is on the way or something like that. So then it's been loaded on the plane. So that's kind of cool, too. Just gives you a peace of mind about your baggage.
Yeah, that is a huge tip because they scan the bags both at the counter, and then they scan it when it gets on the plane.
Yes.
So you'll get a little alert on your phone saying bag loaded on the plane, and then it'll say unloaded off the plane at X airport whenever you land.
Right.
So you do have that peace of mind. I think, if you travel decently enough, chances are you've probably lost a bag or you've had that experience.
I was going to say, when we were coming back from St. Lucia in September, we got the alert on our phone. I think, it was St. Lucia, yeah.
It was St. Lucia, yeah.
And
on the way back, luckily.
On the way back, yeah, thankfully. And my checked bag, it said was loaded on a plane going to Washington instead of back to Charlotte. So that was interesting. At least I knew it ahead of time. So
yeah, and there is human error.
Yeah.
And I've actually been underneath some of the airports where you can see the bag belts. And
that's so cool.
Oh, there's almost like hundreds of belts all over the place, and they load the bags at the bottom, like ground level.
Right.
And they kind of escalate up, and then the bags are all flying above your head at about 12 feet off the ground. They're moving.
Going to
all
where
over
they're
the
supposed to be.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, that is neat.
So, another pro tip, by the way, while we're talking about bags, load a lot of your toiletries if you can on your carry-on.
Yeah.
So if you have
as long as they're not over 3 ounces.
as long as they're not over 3 ounces, because if you check a bag, obviously you have a much higher risk of losing it. Or
Right.
not losing it, but getting lost in the travel. So you can at least have your toiletries and some of your medicine and stuff like that. Some of the stuff you absolutely have to have.
Oh, yeah. Always pack that in your carry-on.
Yeah. No before you go.
Yes.
Use that carry-on.
Yeah, you don't want to, because if the airline does happen to lose your bag or something, you don't want to have your medication in that bag that you absolutely need, because that would not be good.
Exactly. So, tip number 1, download the app.
Yes.
Use it, and you can actually check in for your
from
flight.
the app. Yep.
So you can check in, so you don't have to do anything
24
at the
hours
kiosk.
before.
Walk right through security, and use your app for all that.
Yeah, and another thing too, real quick to recommend, since we're just talking about like getting to the airport and checking in and everything, just make sure you give yourself enough time. Don't show up at the airport, an hour before your flight. Give yourself enough time to get through security so you're not rushed. And and during peak travel season, you're going to need a lot more time. So
yeah. And sorry, I'm a little distracted. Our cat got in the studio. We have Ringo in the studio, our cat, and is tearing through some paper down here. So, but it's live. This is live podcasting. We roll with the punches here. So we're going to let him do his thing, and we're going to keep going. Anyways, So that being said, security lines.
Yes.
I have a pro tip. So when you're going through security lines, obviously you're going to have to take off your watches. You're going to have to, if you're not TSA pre-check, take off your belt.
Take off your shoes.
Take off your shoes. I recommend waiting to take off your shoes until you actually get to after they check your ticket and you're actually in the point where you run your bags through the X-ray.
Yes.
You have to kind of wait. I would wait to take your shoes off there. But everything else, your belt, all that other stuff, if you have a carry-on especially, take your belt off, your watch, your cell phones, and just stuff it down in a either side pouch in your bag, or if you have a backpack, go ahead and put it in your backpack while you're waiting in the security line.
Yeah.
Don't try to do all that like right when you get through the TSA agent and you're about to put your bag through X-ray and then you're scrambling to take all your stuff off. Go ahead and take that stuff off while you're waiting. That way you can give the TSA agent your ID and your ticket and then just go right through, and you already have stuff in your bag and just push it right through.
Yeah.
Yeah. They give you those little like dog food bowls.
Oh, yeah.
Don't throw, take everything off and throw it in a dog food bowl. Just have it all ready in your bag and just roll right through.
Roll right through,
Super
quick and easy. And also another tip as far as the shoes go, if you can, just have on, something like a slip-on shoe or sandal or something like that. It'll definitely make it a lot easier when you try to put your shoes back on.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And then you can always change shoes if you really wanted to, like while you're, if you're getting to the airport 2 hours early and you get through security pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Just bust open the bag and put a different pair of shoes on.
Yeah, just don't take your shoes off and change your shoes when you're on the plane.
No, that's so gross.
I've seen that before, or
Yeah.
just people taking their shoes off and sitting there, and that's gross.
Ew,
so don't
gross.
do that.
So gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, you don't want to. Planes are not the cleanest place. You have a lot of people in a small area.
It's just like a tube full of germs.
Yeah, and there's really, I'm sure, like, these super high-end jets, like
Emirates or something.
Yeah, I'm sure those are, like, thoroughly clean between each flight, maybe, but, like, your everyday commercial airliner, they're not doing thorough cleanings in between flights. They're doing
it's not like everything's sanitized.
Yes,
and
they're just picking up. Literally, the plane lands, people get off, and then 10 to 15, 20 minutes later, they're reloading the plane. They don't have enough time to Lysol everything down and sanitize it. So, keep your shoes on when you're physically on the plane.
Yeah.
And then also another tip here, just while you're traveling, we're kind of just on like an airline rant here. There's really no rhyme or reason, but we can keep going with it. So, but the tray table, super dirty.
That's so disgusting.
It's dirty.
I actually carry.
use it.
Well, I use it too, but I actually carry a little travel pack of Lysol wipes. They have those, and then when I fly, I get on and wipe the tray table down.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I should, as much as I travel for business, I probably should do that. I always have a hand sanitizer at a minimum. Grab the dang hand sanitizer. Like when I travel without hand sanitizer, I feel disgusting.
Gross. Yeah.
Just because like you're in the airport and there's so many people going on and off these planes.
Touched God knows what. So
and it's getting cold here in the States, and people are sneezing. I always sit in the plane, right? You're sitting there, and I don't know why. It's either I'm just noticing it more, but I don't want to get sick, and it's like the coughing and the sneezing and the wheezing
bothers you
and the sniffles.
You just feel like you're breathing all that in.
Yeah, you hear it more. Like I'm just sitting there and no one's talking, and all you hear is the hacking away, and I'm just like,
lovely.
Oh
I'm
my
getting
gosh,
sick right
yeah,
now.
like I'm just gonna breathe all of this in.
Yeah.
So not much you can do about that, but so anyways, yeah, hand sanitizer is a good one. So we did the security line.
The next one's the bag.
The bag, yeah. So tip number 3. I'll tee this one up for you. What is tip number 3? Because this is a big pet peeve of mine.
It's if you wait to check your bag at the gate.
Oh no! I was going to do talk about the overhead bin.
Oh yeah, no,
I like that
too.
one. You can roll with that.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, if you are taking a carry-on bag, and say you're going to board in one of the last groups.
Yeah, if you're like American Group 7 or beyond,
then you're probably not going to get your bag on, and they'll check it complimentary at the gate. And I actually do that a lot. Just take a carry-on, and then, especially if I have a connection, that way I don't have to worry about hauling my bag all around, because then I can just check it for free at the gate, and I save myself $30.
Yeah, and most airports, it doesn't take that long to get your bag. I know no one wants to wait for their bag, and also you run the risk of potentially losing it if you have a connection. But I'd like the peace of mind of checking it. That way I have less to haul through the airport. I do like that.
Yeah, and my bag's usually too heavy for me to lift over my head and put in the overhead bin anyway, so that kind of helps.
And
but
it's a super pain when you're a late group and then you board the flight and then you're like, crap, where am I going to find this thing?
And then you got to walk up and down the aisle to try to find
a
spot for your bag. And then what if you're in, say, row 20 seated, but then your bag has to go all the way back to row 30. Well, then guess
screwed.
What? Yeah, then you're gonna have to wait for all those people to get off the plane. So then you could go to the back and get your bag. So that's a pain.
Guaranteed the last one off the plane.
Yeah.
And speaking of getting off the plane, I have a rant. I've got to go on a travel rant here. And unless you're about to miss your connecting flight, when that plane lands and people are deplaning, getting off the plane, and you're in row 30. Don't run to the front of the plane.
Yeah, that drives me nuts.
Right when the seatbelt light goes off and you land and everyone can get up, there's always a few people that just literally sprint to the front of the plane while people are trying to get their luggages and all this stuff. Don't do unless you're about to miss your flight. Don't do that. Just wait your turn. And if you are about to miss your flight, just let
say
people
that.
know. Just say, hey guys, I've got a tight connection. Do
Otherwise, you look like an asshole.
Yes. Yeah. Masshole.
Yeah.
We now have explicit material. I'm going to have to check that box on the podcast now.
That's okay. Sorry.
this one episode will be.
Yeah.
Sorry, parents out there listening to this. In the car. But we'll keep it PC. But that just annoys.
That's a pain.
That annoys the heck out of me because, and it's one of those things you wouldn't know if you don't travel often. I think because there's always people that do it.
Right.
And just let people know around you. Say, hey, real quick, hey guys, I'm about to miss my flight. Do you mind if I just sneak up here real quick?
Yeah.
Everyone will be cool with that.
Yes.
And then so going back to getting on and off the plane too, when you're boarding the plane and you have a carry-on bag and say a purse or a backpack or anything else like a laptop bag, anything smaller than a carry-on, that is supposed to go under your seat.
Under the seat in front of you,
Unless...
Do not put that in the overhead bin.
Do not put it in the overhead bin.
Unless, one circumstance.
Unless you're in an exit row where you cannot there's not a seat in front of you.
Yeah.
Or you're in the front row of the plane.
Yeah, the bulkhead.
Either front row of first class or the front row of the main cabin.
Yep.
Then you don't have a seat in front of you. You have a wall, so you have to put everything up top.
Right.
But you're not supposed to put your purse or your backpack or anything else up there just for convenience. Now, caveat to that, if the plane is fully boarded, and they shut the cabin doors.
And there's room.
Go ahead then. If
Sure.
if you don't want it under your seat for whatever reason, then you can put it up there.
Yeah.
But there's nothing more annoying when you're rolling through seat 24 or seat 20, and you can't find room for your
bag, and there's like little small computer bags or purses or even like a jacket up there. I mean, there's no point. Yeah, that is not supposed to go up there. Save all that for the bags so everyone can try to get their bags on.
Exactly. And the flight attendants always say it.
Yes, but no one
does it. And it also saves time for boarding the plane because you don't have to throw all your crap up top. You can just literally throw what you need up top, and everything else goes under your thing. So that just annoys me. So that was tip number 3.
Yes.
Second rant. I don't want to call it a rant, but I was on a plane yesterday actually. Mm-hmm. And they always say you don't want to bring stinky food on a plane.
Yes.
Because you have a lot of you don't want to eat like. I mean, sushi's not really stinky. The sushi I like is not stinky, but like, like what's like a strong garlicky smell or something, or a chili hot dog. You don't want to bring that on a plane.
Even, I've noticed just if you bring like a cheeseburger or something with fries on board, it stinks up the plane.
It does. Yeah. There was a lady on my last flight. She didn't have any food with her, but she smelled horrible. I mean,
so take a bath before you get on a plane.
And I don't know, I'm like 99% it was her. So she was sitting like perpendicular to me, and I was in the aisle and she was in the aisle perpendicular. So one row up, but kind of at an angle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she gets on the plane, and I kind of smell something, but I was back by they call it the lavatory, or really the bathroom, and.
Are you sure it wasn't a whiff of the bathroom?
I'm sure.
Okay.
Because I confirmed whenever she stood back up, she stood up mid-flight and bent down to get something under her seat, I think. And it just hit me like 1,000 bricks. And it was suffocating. It was horrible. And you're in the plane.
So rule number 4, yes, take a shower before you travel.
It magnifies it in the plane. And, maybe she didn't know. I don't know, but I just,
That's gross.
And when you're flying late on a Friday,
you're just trying to get home, yeah.
And I flew Delta, which I usually fly American. I flew Delta, so I don't have the status. And American, I'm first class all the time. I'm up front because of how frequently I fly with them, or we do business with American. Delta, on the other hand, I had to take a Delta flight for this one. Just had to.
Yep.
Nothing against them. I just had to do it. And so I was in the back. And so I didn't have a good seat. I was in the smaller seats. I know this is total first world problems.
Yeah, total
here.
First world
but
problems.
I'm sitting in the back, and I just was not having a good time. And it's late on a Friday. And this woman bends over and nearly blows the jacket off of my back. so rant over, but
take a shower
just
before you
be clean. And we get it. I mean, it's travel. You might sweat. I don't know.
I got another etiquette regarding while you're on the plane. If you just so happen to be stuck in the dreaded middle seat.
Oh, this is a big one for me. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Drop it on them.
Well, then you have the right to both armrest on both sides.
Everyone out there, please write this one down. If you are in the middle seat, those 2 armrests, if you're in a 3 seat, like you have
3 seats in the row.
3 seats in a row on each side or either side. If you're in that middle seat, you have the right to both of those armrests on each side of you.
Yes.
The window seat has the armrest near the window.
Yeah.
The aisle seat leans on the armrest into the aisle.
Yes.
The middle seat gets both. You know how many people don't follow that?
Yeah, they don't know.
99%.
Yeah.
99%. I don't get it. Maybe the airline should actually just.
They should put a sign on the back of the seat.
Be courteous for the poor people in the middle seat,
Yeah.
But no, that's a big one for me. But I get it. That's one if you don't travel often at all, and even if you do travel often, it's just one of those things you don't think about.
Right.
I feel like it's almost like people just think whoever gets to the armrest first can get
theirs.
that. Yeah, it's not necessarily the case.
Right. Yeah.
So that's definitely a big one. That's one of my favorite ones, actually.
Yeah, and some more, just speaking while you're actually in the airport, not necessarily on the plane. But in the boarding process, whenever they say how you're about to start boarding and then everyone gets up and crowds around the gate.
Don't do that.
Yeah, just wait until until your group is about to be called. Don't crowd around the gate, because then it crowds out into the aisle, especially in Charlotte. It happens all the time because their terminals are not wide enough.
Charlotte needs to widen their terminals big time.
Yeah,
they're
too small.
Chaos.
Yeah, and so then you end up with all these people out in the middle of the aisle, and that's a pain. So wait until your group is called to stand up and go to the gate.
Yeah.
Even though nobody will ever do that, but
yeah, because
it's a tip.
Everyone wants, especially if you have a carry-on, they want to get on as early as possible to get space. I get that, but yeah, don't be in zone 6 and try to board with zone 2 and just be waiting up front by zone 2. It's like, come on, just.
Oh yeah.
So to that point, speaking of just getting through the airport, the walking, I'll call it the walking escalator.
Oh yeah,
belts,
gosh.
The belts that are flat. That are designed to get you to your gate quicker. So you can it's not an escalator, but it's like a flat escalator.
Right.
And they're usually really...
It's a moving sidewalk.
It's a moving sidewalk. And they're usually really long, and the point is to get you to your terminal quicker if you're connecting. That's the point of it. It's not for...
to just stand there.
Stand there and essentially be lazy because you don't feel like walking. I'm just going to ride this thing and just hang out. Because most people are trying to either get to a meeting off the airport or get through the airport, and they're moving. If you do want to stand, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Stand to the right.
Stand to the right of those things.
Leave room on the left for people to get by. Yes.
Yeah, that is a big one.
That's so annoying.
When you just see them, if you have a couple just standing there and you have all these people behind them trying to get to their terminal because they might be about to miss a flight.
Right.
And here we go. We're just sitting there. And you're just enjoying the ride of the walking sidewalk.
It's like you're on a leisurely Sunday stroll.
It's not there to help people be lazy. It's there to help people get to their terminal quicker. Yeah. So, huge one. And then maybe we should end with this one. But if you're walking to a terminal, especially when it's real busy, and you're walking mid-airport, you're trying to get A to B.
Oh, don't just stop in the middle.
Don't stop in the middle of the walkway.
And especially if you've got a bag behind you and everything. People will trip.
Yeah, I see it all the time where you're on a cell phone, someone's on a cell phone, not paying attention to what's going on. I call it mouth breathing. They're just mouth breathing. Yeah. They're just sitting there looking around. They're on their cell phone.
What's going on?
Just got their bag, and then they just stop. Something happens. They realize they're going the wrong way or something. They stop in the middle, and you have people flying up behind you. Yeah. And it's not good. It's not good. Yeah. So don't stop and talk on your cell phone, Yeah.
Now, a couple of pro tips, though, that I'll go over to also kind of get you through an airport faster or through customs faster. But obviously, a lot of people have heard of TSA PreCheck. Highly recommend getting that because it's a separate security line, usually a little shorter. You don't have to take your shoes off. It's just real easy to get through.
Love PreCheck.
And that's, I believe, either $80 or $85. But if you're going to travel out of the country, even if it's just once a year, you might as well get global entry for $100 because then it comes with the TSA PreCheck. Yep. So you get all the benefits of that. Plus, when you come back in the country, you don't have to wait in the customs line. You just go and scan your passport and put your fingerprints in, and then off you go. You're through customs, and it's super easy. Now, if you don't want to do that, some airports also have the mobile passport control, which is a new thing that they've just come out with. But if you're a U.S. citizen coming back, then it's also a separate line that you can go to. And you have to download the app on your phone and fill out the customs form there. But it's kind of similar to having global entry, and you just go right through customs too. So they don't have it if you're coming back into Charlotte, but all other major airports do. I know Miami, Atlanta, New York, Dallas, all those have it too. So if you're going to connect back through there, that's, another good thing to have is the mobile passport app.
Yeah, and that's a big one because especially when you're traveling internationally, if you're coming back and you're typically when you're coming back into the United States from a destination, so you're traveling, you're on vacation or whatever, you're tired. Your vacation's over. The last thing you want to do is wait in this long line to get through customs.
Yeah, and if you have a connection too, you're going to have to
at that airport.
You have to pick up your bag and recheck that and go back through security for your next flight. So if you can get whisked through customs quickly, it'll save you a lot of time. So
Yeah.
and aggravation, because even before I had global entry, I remember I waited in line at the Miami Customs for over an hour. It was awful.
Oh, yeah. Nope.
Yeah. So
And I remember we missed our connection because we had to pick up our bag. And
that was in Dallas.
And we even had the global entry, and because it was just tight and our flight was delayed, missed the connection. That's okay. We had insurance.
We had insurance.
We already had an episode on that. But
yeah.
another tip here. So while we're going through kind of the tips for the airport travel and flying in general, if you're flying with a baby or a small child, if the kid's old enough to have their own seat, don't let the kid kind of kick. And a lot of kids like to kick the seat in front of them.
Oh, yeah.
Just ask try to.
That's kind of like a parenting problem.
Yeah, no, I know, but because some parents are like, well,
they don't care. I can imagine that's probably already pretty stressful to travel with a small child.
Yeah,
that would not be.
And here's one that someone did recently, a flight I was on recently that I really liked. They had a small, like an infant, and often because the pressure in the cabin as the plane goes up and down, it bothers the kid's ears, right?
Right.
So right when they boarded, they were like in the seat behind me. The parents had like a bag of candy, and they offered all these people that were sitting around them just some candy and said, "Hey, I'm traveling with an infant. Here's just a little piece of candy, just so sorry."
As a sorry in advance.
Sorry for an inconvenience. We're going to try to keep the kid as quiet as possible. Like, it was super nice of them.
Right.
Not saying that you should do that if you have a small child, but it was a really nice gesture.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
it kind of
nice.
breaks the ice.
Right.
So people aren't as uncomfortable around, when you're mid-plane, when you're, at least you're acknowledging, hey, I'm going to try to keep, do whatever I can to coddle the child so it doesn't.
I mean, we don't have children yet, but I can only imagine how stressed out I will be if I have to fly with a baby, because I will be so worried about bothering other people.
And then also just the kid too, like the pressure. Like I over worry about stuff anyways.
I mean, it bothers my ears all the time. So
yeah, I can't imagine that they
that it's easy for them. Yeah.
So let's see here. We got a couple more tips. Oh, I do have one thing I want to go through. So, American recently changed the rules with Main Cabin Extra. So, if you're traveling, say on vacation, and you kind of want that first class experience, but you don't want that first class price tag,
right?
You can get free drinks in what's called Main Cabin Extra.
Yep.
It's about the equivalent of Delta Comfort, where you get free drinks, you have bigger seats, and I don't think American did a good job broadcasting this or advertising it.
No, because not a lot of people know.
Not a lot of people know, but you can get, if you're in a Main Cabin Extra seat, which there's probably on most planes, it's like the first few rows or the exit seats.
So you get closer to the front.
Free liquor, wine, and beer.
Yep.
I mean, that's
nice.
really nice. You get a mixed drink, you can get whatever you want.
Yeah.
You don't get the upgraded snacks or meals that you would in first class.
Right.
But it does kind of enhance that experience a little bit because you get a little more room and you get the free drinks, right? And we've both experienced that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, it's really nice and definitely recommend it. I always like being closer to the front of the plane anyway. So I like it mostly just for that, because then I can get off the plane quicker. But for a minimal cost, usually, it's...
Yeah, what's the percentage increase you think it is to get into the...
I don't know about percentage, but I mean, it can be, if it's a really short flight, like, $15, or if it's, all the way to California, then it's, going to be like $80 to $100.
But that for $80 to $100 and you're going cross country.
Yeah.
That to me is well worth it.
Yeah, especially if when you book, there's no other seats left that you can pre-assign in advance, and then you just have the preferred. I like it because at least it gives me a peace of mind to know where I'm going to be seated, and so I like that.
Yeah, and you're usually towards the front of the plane too, so you can get on and off a little easier. But American did not do a good job in announcing that. Right. I just got an email about it saying, "Hey, probably because I'm an AA Advantage member.
Yeah.
Hey, check out what your new benefits in Main Cabin Extra." And I was like, "Oh, this is very interesting." So something I've utilized, especially if you're late, traveling late for business on a Friday or something, you get the Main Cabin Extra. Like, all right, I'm gonna grab a drink or a glass of wine. And you get to
board in group 4 or 5, I think. So that's nice too.
Yeah, I think you do board early, which is always good.
Yeah.
So, But that's essentially, this was a wild show. So we kind of did a rant, we kind of did tips and a rant, and got sidetracked there a little bit, but it was fun.
Yeah. Well, and also over the holidays, you usually have a lot of people that don't travel that often. So hopefully this will help give you some good tips.
Yeah.
So
if you got a little nugget out of it, give it a try. I think my biggest one out of everything, if I'm just looking at the notes here that we wrote down while we were talking.
Mm-hmm.
The app's a big one. Like, just get the app. That'll save you time, And then, the biggest one for me is that middle seat. Like,
be considerate of everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, it's not too complicated. Especially if you don't fly much and you're listening to this, don't be overwhelmed. It's really not that hard. It's just kind of going through the motions.
I actually, one time, I think it was when I was coming back from Jamaica earlier this year, but I was on the parking shuttle at the airport. And going back to my car, and there was a woman on there, and she was actually doing a test run of
really?
how you park at the airport and get to the terminal, which I've never seen anyone do that before. But she was talking to the driver, and it sounded like she was coming with like a larger group of elderly people who, probably don't know much about the airports.
Idea.
Yeah. And so she went and did a test run and parked her car, and just so she would know exactly like what to do and how to get into the airport. So if you do live close to the airport, it might not be a bad idea just to go and check it out, especially if you've never, flown out of that particular airport before, or if it's been a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that was actually a pretty good idea. So
that is a great idea.
Yeah.
That is a really
never
great
seen
idea.
that before. So
no, you don't see that very often. I mean, probably people are doing it, but you don't know. But that's not especially if you're traveling with a group.
Right.
Like if you're like the head of the group, that's a great idea. If you have time to do that.
Yeah.
As travel professionals and owning the travel agency, we'll try to give you as much guidance as possible, especially if we're very familiar with that airport. That's not a bad idea at all.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot.
So,
this is one of our longest shows ever. We are actually 31 minutes. So if you made it through all 31 minutes, thank you so much. We really hope you got some value out of this show. Check out payactravel.com.
Well, we got to say real quick what our next show is going to be about.
Oh my gosh, I almost forgot.
You almost forgot. So I am going on a pretty cool trip tomorrow.
So one of our vendors, who's the vendor that's sending you on this trip?
Pleasant Holidays, which is a very nice vacation company. They do all sorts of vacation packages down to the Caribbean, Mexico, Central America, Hawaii, Europe, and then they do a lot in the South Pacific. So they invited me to go on a trip to Tahiti. Obviously, I'm a little upset because George can't go.
I don't. Yeah,
I think. Well, actually, he's probably way more upset than me.
Yeah, I don't think you're that upset. I can't. You probably.
Well, no, I do wish you could go. I think I'd be a little more excited about it. But I am going tomorrow, flying, and then first stop is in Tiki How, and then the next stop is in Papeete, and then going over to Bora Bora, and then Moorea. So I've never been. I've booked a lot of trips there, and based on all my research and everything that I've done through that, this will give me some firsthand knowledge and experience. So I'm super excited about that and excited to come back and share all about it with you guys. Follow, the journey. I'll probably be doing a lot of Instagram stories.
Yeah, check out Instagram stories.
Yeah, so check out our Paniac
Travel
Instagram. Yep, and then I'll post some stuff on Facebook too. So
yeah, and now Bora Bora, for those that don't know, and Tahiti, that area, that's where you see those famous pictures of the overwater bungalows. They were like the first ones, I think, to really do that.
Yeah, they were.
And I mean, I am so jealous that you're going. Like, I can't.
I don't know if I'm actually going to get an overwater bungalow at any of these places. I don't know. We'll see. Because they also, not only do they at all the hotels have overwater bungalows, but they also, like, there's a hotel building on the beach. So, we could be in like a beach bungalow or something like that. I don't know. So
yeah, I'm super jealous. But they say it's one of the most romantic places in the world. So just come back to me.
I will.
Don't find some exotic island man Forget about your hubby here.
I
on the
will
East
not.
I'm joking.
No, yeah, I am. I never thought I would actually go there without my husband for the first time. So, but I'm going to go check it out, and then maybe we'll plan a trip there next year. We'll see.
I was about to say, you got to take me back. You got to take me there.
Oh, yeah. No, now I'm like on the hook. I have to take him.
Yeah, we're going in 2019.
Yeah, there you go.
It's happening.
There we go.
So, but we'll make some cool content about that. So, yeah, follow Panic Travel if you want to see all the ins and outs of this trip. She'll be touring. You'll be touring a lot of resorts.
Yeah.
Looking at your itinerary here, you're going from the East Coast. You're going Charlotte to L.A.
Yep.
And then, which is, a 5.5-hour flight.
Yep.
And then the really long flight from LAX on Air Tahiti
To Papeete.
How long of a flight is that?
A little over 8 hours.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Woof.
I know, which I didn't do so well on the last 9-hour flight we had to Europe, so we'll see how this one goes. But
yeah, the overnight, because we don't do, I can't sleep on a plane.
I can't either.
We're not, and I consider myself a good flyer.
Right.
And you are too.
Yeah.
But there's some people I see, as soon as they sit down on a plane, they're out.
Yeah.
And I'm so jealous of that.
Yeah. I hope that I can get some rest, especially because right when I get off in Papeete, I have to go tour.
Yeah.
So
we flew to Europe, and it was an overnight flight. It was Charlotte to Rome.
Yep, nonstop.
Nonstop overnight. That was about 8 hours, I think, if I remember correctly, 7.
Yeah, I think it was 9 going over and 8 coming back, or something like
that. Something like that. And it's overnight. And so you actually leave at 8 and then 8 p.m. and you land in the morning.
Right.
Which sounds very convenient if you can sleep.
Right, yeah.
I can't sleep on a plane. There's some people that can. I'm super jealous of them. But,
yeah,
neither of us really slept at all.
No.
So we
were
land,
zombies that whole day.
I'm pounding coffee. I didn't feel good. You actually got sick.
Yeah.
We were at that little pizzeria in Rome.
Oh, God. Yeah. Don't bring back this nightmare.
Yeah, you were vomiting so loud in the bathroom.
You don't realize it, too, on a plane, but there's a lot of motion, and I do get motion sickness.
So you should have taken some Dramamine.
So I should have taken some Dramamine before I got on the plane, and I'm glad that we're talking about this now because that reminds me I'm going to do that tomorrow. So
bring some Dramamine. That's another pro tip. I don't get motion sickness.
I think that's why I ended up getting sick. But after that, I felt great. I was like a new person.
Yeah, you were a new person.
Yeah.
It sounded like a murder scene going on in the bathroom. People that were outside, I was like, oh my! I felt like I had to go in there.
Yeah.
But it was the women's bathroom, and it was in Rome. So I'm like,
we're in this little pizzeria in Rome.
Yeah, and you walked out, and everyone's kind of staring at you, and I was like, oh my God, is she okay? I was so worried about you. And then you sat down. You're like, oh, I feel fine.
Yep.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah. I felt fantastic after that.
You're like, pass the pizza.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, all right, I'm good to go now. So, but yeah, tomorrow, so then we get off in Papeete, and then I'm going to tour a hotel there and then go back to the airport for my first night. And then we're flying over to this island called Tiki Hao, which I'd never heard of. I think I'm pronouncing that right. But I'll be spending a night there, and there's 8 other agents, I think, going. So it'll be pretty cool.
What are you most looking forward to?
Seeing the water. Because that's what I've heard is just so amazing there, which we've been all over the Caribbean and seen some really pretty water, and I think out of all the water in the Caribbean, Exuma and the Bahamas has the prettiest, so I'm interested to see how it compares with that. But everybody that has been just says, you think, oh well, it can't be that much different than the Caribbean, but apparently it really is. So
that's what we hear. So.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see the water and see how it really is different, and if it's worth the price to go over there.
Yeah, because it's not a cheap trip from the East Coast or really from the United States in general. So, I'm super excited that you're going to check it out. I think we'll be able to bring more value to our client base that you've been there and seen it all. I always wonder if it's like a proximity thing. Maybe it's more exotic to us because it's further away.
Yeah.
And I bet people that live kind of in that part of the world, they might look at the Caribbean and be like, oh my gosh, the Caribbean's got...
Yeah, I wonder if Australians think that because, it's on that side of the world.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. So, and by the way, we're getting listeners from all over the place. We're getting a lot of reps in Canada. Thank you, Canada. If you're in Canada listening to us, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. We do actually book trips. We have clients all over the world.
Yeah.
So if you're in Canada and you're listening and you want to become a client and be part of the Paniac Travel family, give us a shout on our website or give us a call, and we'd be happy to help you out. So anyways, we'll have fun in Tahiti.
Thank you.
I'll be sitting here on the East Coast. I actually have to go to Minneapolis.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going down to 90-degree weather while you're going up to
it's in the
like
single
negative
digits.
weather.
The wind chill might be negative, but I looked at it's going to be like negative.
Yeah.
Or not, it's not negative. It's going to be like 7, like
Ugh.
below 7.
Yeah.
We live in the Southeast for a reason.
Yeah.
7?
I'll never
7?
live in a place like that.
Well, have fun in Tahiti.
Yep. Can't wait to come back and share it with you guys.
I'll be in Minneapolis, so pray for me, guys.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, let's call it a show here. Thank you guys so much. Like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. Give us some feedback in the review section of wherever you're listening to this podcast, and we appreciate it as always. And we will see y'all next time.
Yep.
Check it out.
Bye, everyone.